As the first session of the 18th Lok Sabha that begins today with the oath-taking ceremony of newly elected members as the opposition gears up to raise the paper leak issue that has rocked the NDA government, as well as we do remember that President Draupadi Murmu will administer the oath to the pro tem speaker, something that the opposition has in fact been saying that they will not be assisting upon. They have had problems, and this is as far as the pro tem speaker is concerned. Do remember this is a temporary speaker. Before the speaker is announced by the Prime Minister, that's going to take place 2 days from now. Now, it is the session that will begin with a moment of silence, following which the Lok Sabha Secretary General will place the list of elected members on the table of the House. It is the pro tem speaker that will then go ahead and invite the Prime Minister, the leader of the Lok Sabha, to take his oath as a member of the House. And after the panel of chairpersons and Council of Ministers that will take their oaths, followed by members from various states who will be called in alphabetical order over the next 2 days to take their oaths or make affirmations. Well, we have Vasudha with us. Vasudha, the India bloc members to gather in the Parliament, march to the Lok Sabha together. They are saying that they are expected to gather as far as the Parliament complex is concerned. You're coming to us right from outside the Parliament. Take us through the grounds on which, they are saying that, they are not going to be assisting when it comes to the pro tem speaker. They're having issues with that because it should have technically gone to the senior most member of the House.
Of course, Divya, that is one controversy that is threatening to, in some ways, cloud the proceedings of the Parliament. Now, remember that the numbers this time are a little different. BJP is at 240, doesn't have the simple majority that it had in 2014 and 2019. So, 2014 and 2019, we did not see, the opposition benches that were aggressive. Of course, that is not going to be the case this time. The Treasury benches and the opposition benches are going to be super aggressive. And the controversy over the pro tem speaker is the first to start with, and that's going to test not just the strength of the opposition but also the strategy of the Treasury benches. Now, what happened really was people were expecting K. Suresh or Kodaikunil Suresh, who is an MP from Kerala, from this constituency called Mavelikara. He is basically an 8-term MP, but he had a break in between, which is why the government and of course Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju has come out to say that Bhartrihari Mahtab was chosen. Bhartrihari Mahtab is a 7-term MP and he has had consecutive terms. He is from the state of Odisha. He was with BJD till the last term, and of course just before elections in Odisha this time he changed over to the BJP. He's seen as someone who understands parliamentary proceedings. We all know him as the head of the Standing Committee on Labour. So of course a known face in the Parliament. So clearly the controversy of course has broken out, and today what we are told is that the other panel members of this panel of chairpersons who are going to assist Mr. Mahtab, they are not going to be taking part. They're going to boycott the proceedings and also the oath taking. In fact, what we hear is that all opposition members could be gathering at the location where Gandhi's statue used to be. That used to be this iconic location inside the Parliament complex, which has witnessed many a protest. They're going to be there, and then from there they're going to march to the Parliament. Is what we've been told. We have to wait and see if that happens or not. But to just get a perspective and, of course, a socio-political perspective on this, I have with me Sajjan Kumar, who's a political analyst. We know him as an academic and also a commentator. Thank you, Sajjan, for being here. What is the context that you would set, when it comes to Parliament numbers this time? They're, of course, not the same that we saw in 2014, 2019. And, of course, this controversy over the pro tem speaker, do you think this is something that was avoidable?
That's difficult to say because we have to see the chemistry between the ruling party and the opposition. And at this juncture, more than the numbers, look, 240 is, of course, technically it's a coalition government, but 240 is a number wherein it's easy for the incumbent, particularly BJP, to sail through when you have two allies who are in sync. More important is the kind of the nature of the opposition, which certainly has got a momentum, and you see the kind of momentum is there wherein the more and more protest politics players have also joined Congress, and therefore before this parliamentary session there were already indication that there are a colossal lack of two leaders who could share the chemistry between the two. Earlier there used to be weaker coalition government, but yet the opposition and the incumbent benches used to have. So that kind of a lack, and that is why you see yes, most senior member should be the pro tem speaker, but what defines seniority? It's something which is subjective, and that's why it's up to the both sides to define the senior members up to there. But we do see that some sort of among the opposition that they have a kind of a momentum, and the way the electoral process generated, I think some sort of a confrontation is something which is expected.
Right.
That is something in the very lack of the chemistry of the two leaders.
Yeah.
Here could have been Rajnath Singh, but on the other side you do not see someone like Sharad Pawar or who could share the chemistry, and that gap I think is going to play into a very confrontationist sort of a politics.
Absolutely. And one of the most important constituents of the changing politics this time is, of course, the TDP and the JDU. We have the JDU spokesperson with us, Dr. Jyotsna Tirunagari. Dr. Jyotsna, Professor Jyotsna, how do you see this, ma'am? Because, the role of TDP is going to be very important this time. You have 16 MPs. You also have a state government that has, in some ways, the party has swept the state of Andhra Pradesh. There are just 4 YSRCP MPs this time. So clearly the numbers are different, not just in state, but also at the national level. TDP is very important. But you also see that the NDA alliance, or in fact the BJP, is facing a lot of flack for the NEET crisis, for the crisis over NTA. There of course have been a rail tragedy, which has also become an opposition flashpoint. Other than that, of course, the other controversies like over the one over the pro tem speaker, the relocating of the statues. How does the TDP view this, and what is going on in the party? What is the thinking there?
Good morning, Masudha. And also I would say here that one thing is I think we should congratulate all the members of parliament who are taking their oath today. That's one initial thing that we all have to do, congratulating each one of them, both from our NDA alliance and also from the other alliance as well, whether it is from the government or the opposition. We congratulate each member of parliament for taking oath today. Second thing, as you said, yes, NEET, we already said that we have started investigation on that. Our education minister has told that. And also we are with the students in this. Our government is with the students in this. There is no doubt about that. And when coming to the pro tem speaker ka thing, I'll tell you, if opposition wants to, create a tussle on everything, that's their choice. That's their choice. I'm very clear when I say that. We have given very clear reasons as to why he was chosen and what is the reason, what is his background. You yourself have said that now in your initial introduction. So definitely we have our reasons there. But after looking at the way opposition is politicizing everything, I mean, you have a problem with the pro tem speaker, you have a problem with the train accident, you have a problem with everything. That clearly shows that the only thing for them on agenda is a tussle and a confrontation with the government. That's it. No constructive opposition, no opposition which thinks from the people perspective. They just think from their perspective. For them, if we introduce anything, that's something they want to contest on. That's something they want to contradict on. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less to it. So, but we are very clear when it comes to NDA and especially when it comes to TDP, as a strong alliance partner, we have been saying that if there is anything that requires our immediate attention, we are on it. Let's say, for example, NEET. We were on it. We initially, our minister said, no, we will investigate.
Right.
We have done everything possible with regard to NEET. And also, when you talk about the train accident, our minister immediately went there. We were the ones who actually supported the people who were injured there.
Absolutely. So the government has been trying hard, madam, to also put on this narrative, and of course this, at least in some ways send out this message that it is proactive, and I agree with you on that. But of course, it will be difficult to make the opposition understand, because clearly obstruction is something that both opposition and the ruling party, when it was part of the opposition, have used, and that is something that even I think P. Chidambaram also wrote about this yesterday. In fact, if you look at the Congress manifesto, they have actually talked a lot about, how the parliament needs to function. We're not really sure if the Congress party will actually adhere to that, given that it really did not get to form the government. I also have my colleague Vedant Agarwal joining us from the old parliament. Vedant, tell us what is it that we can expect today? What I'm told is Prime Minister is going to address media at 10 o'clock, and of course Bhartrihari Mahtab will be there in the parliament by 11 o'clock. He will be administering oath to MPs today. Of course, this oath taking session is going to go on for the next 2 days. After that, we see the Speaker's election, the highlight of the session, and then the President's address to the joint sitting of the Parliament, and then, of course, the discussion on that, and then the Prime Minister's response to it. But what is expected today in a nutshell?
Well, Vasudha, today is going to be a lot about symbolism. In fact, I come to you from very close to gate number 2 of the old Parliament building, where I'm told that all the India Bloc MPs will gather at about 10:15 a.m. This is where the Gandhi statue once stood, and it has been, a lot about symbolism in the sense that in the past as well, we've seen opposition MPs protesting from this very spot, the Gandhi statue, which along with the 14 other statues was moved to the Prerna Sthal, and that also became sort of a point of contention, a big flashpoint between the opposition and the treasury benches, and that is something that is likely to play out today as well. So what I'm being told is that the India Bloc MPs will gather here at about 10:15, and it's at 10:30 when they will enter the house together. So that's going to be interesting to see, because this time, the opposition is much larger in terms of strength, much stronger. So when they stage a walkout, it's actually going to look like a walkout, and you'll actually see empty chairs inside the house. So of course that's going to be interesting. Heavy security here outside gate number 2 of the old Parliament building. The opposition leaders will start gathering at about 10 a.m. here. We are also being told that Mallikarjun Kharge could address the media before the India Bloc leaders enter the house at 10:30 a.m. And of course there are two big flashpoints that are likely to play out and that have already been playing out. One, of course, over the entire paper leak issue. The opposition, of course, demanding some sort of moral responsibility from the government. In fact, it was yesterday that we saw that there was a big row with Shashi Tharoor posting a meme, and then top BJP leaders hitting out at him as well. And the second big flashpoint, as of course we pointed out, is the pro tem speaker. And what we're being told by senior leaders within the India Bloc is that this is a sort of a non-cooperation call as far as the pro tem speaker is concerned. That's what the strategy of the India Bloc is going to be. And they, what we are being told by sources within the opposition is that from day one they wish to register the fact that what they say, that this is not a mandate for the Prime Minister, this is not a mandate for the BJP, and that is something that the opposition seeks to register from day one. Vasudha?
Thank you, Vedant. We'll keep coming back to you for all those important updates. Radhika Khera of the BJP joins us. Radhika, you just heard my colleague speak about the opposition strategy, and this is something you've also known as part of your early innings. Tell us, how difficult is it going to be for the BJP? Because clearly the numbers are different this time, but of course the treasury benches are also aggressive. I've been speaking to people in different ministries, and the government also seems to be fairly committed to at least sending out this message that it is committed to governance and it will take on the opposition head on. What do you think will be the difference in the strategy this time?
See, our government has always been committed to ensuring that the country progresses, and that has always been our way of working. And we have always taken everyone together, but it is again for the opposition to decide how they want to play their role. Do they want to be an opposition which wants to be a part of the progress of the country, the development of the country, or they only want to oppose everything without any merit, and this just because they want to oppose and they do not want to be a responsible opposition. We've seen that earlier also. They've never been responsible. They only believe in screaming and shouting and doing this drama of protesting outside the parliament. They're not bothered whether the country progresses or not, bills are passed or not. They do not care whether the students get the required justice or not. They just don't want to do politics. And we've seen that recently with their with the kind of things that leaders are saying, like Digvijay Singh ji went on to divide the students on Hindu and Muslim for the NEET exams. So everybody has been very clear. The country has been a witness to the way the opposition has been behaving, and which is why they have again kept them in opposition. The fact is that Shri Narendra Modi ji is going to enter parliament for a record third time after Jawaharlal Nehru ji. This is going to be the first time that someone is going to come back for the third time as a prime minister. And we are deeply committed to ensuring that the country moves forward and every rule of the book is followed. And we will, like we say, sabka saath, sabka vikas, in that the opposition also comes. We even do vikas of the people who don't vote for us. So we are very committed to that. Now it is on the opposition to show to the country once whether they are responsible or not, which I think is
Let me get in Amitabh Tiwari here. Yes. Amitabh, you know, we heard Radhika Khera and of course, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, but this time the strategy of the BJP will be different because clearly there has to be a lot more, outreach is what I, expect and assume. And of course, other than that, there will also be a lot of controversies, in terms of, we saw what happened with Prerna Sthal, the relocation of the statues, and then the pro-term speaker. Do you think some of these matters, the symbolism of this, should be something that the BJP should be mindful of, or you think, it is still the dominant party and it really has the right to go forward with what it thinks is the best for the party?
See, of course, it is still the dominant party, but the dynamics has completely changed. In 2019, there were 350 NDA MPs and 50 friendly MPs, BJD, YSRCP and BSP. So 400 versus 150 of opposition. Even during that time, if you recall, in the last 5 years, a lot of sessions have been washed out. Correct? Even with a 400-150 dynamics. Now you have a dynamics of 300 of the party in power and 250 of the opposition. So this is clearly going to be a very, very tricky situation for the BJP, and we could see a lot of confrontation. I mean, this first session of the Lok Sabha, of the 18th Lok Sabha, is likely to be just a trailer of what we might see in the future. In the past, in the 17th Lok Sabha, a lot of bills used to be passed by voice vote. Now that is going to be really, really difficult because 300 versus 250 voice vote is difficult. The role of the Parliamentary Affairs Minister here becomes very, very critical in this government and in this session. Now we have to see how the BJP and the opposition both come to the table and what sort of strategy they both devise to take the country forward or to have good, fruitful sessions in the Lok Sabha. That the onus lies with both the opposition as well as the ruling party. We have to see. Right. Now we have to see whether the opposition puts up a candidate for a speaker or not. What happens to the deputy speaker post? Now, I think you were saying that many could even boycott the swearing in or the oath-taking ceremony. So all of this is going to be very, very dramatic, and we have to see how these things pan out because the numbers have changed, and that's what has brought this change actually.
Absolutely. That's very important. Sajjan, Amitabh Tiwari is basically, he spoke about how the numbers have changed and political battle lines are being redrawn again. Of course, it's an aggressive opposition, but of course, there are not as many friendly MPs as the BJP had last time. How do you think this is going to impact the proceedings of the parliament? Because we've seen a lot of obstruction in the past few years. What is going to be the responsibility of the opposition also this time, apart from the responsibility of the treasury benches?
Yeah, that's there. The text of the election is that BJP doesn't have the absolute majority, but there is also a subtext. No coalition government in the history of India was as strong as this government is. 240 is the number, which is a big number for the prime anchor of the party. So opposition needs to realize that yes, BJP has slid down majority mark, but nevertheless it is as 240, and the anchor of the opposition, Congress, still is around 100 seats. So that way there is a colossal government. But the tone when you acquire, wherein you assume that the government doesn't have the mandate, it has lost the election, with that sort of a psychology, if you proceed, so rather than playing the constructive opposition role, one can remember the Gujarat 2017 election. Mind it, that was the best chance for Congress when it has a chance to sit in opposition. Out of 182 seats, it has around 80 seats. And in 5 years, when 2022 elections happened, many of the voters did not vote to Congress, saying that it failed to play a constructive role of the opposition. So that is something also, while for BJP it's the humbling moment when it needs to realize what went wrong, for opposition also it needs to realize that after 10 years when it has got some number, a strong opposition, it need to go for a construct rather than just, kind of going brownie about that how BJP lost the majority mark. And that is where people would be looking at the conduct of the opposition. Mind it, there are precedent, be it Janata Party, strong mandate, but within 2 years they squandered and Congress returned back. So that is why many times opposition also needs to see a subtext. You have got a mandate to play a constructive role, and it would be seen that whether the Congress chooses to go into the protest politics or is going to play a very constructive vanguard kind of a role that opposition is expected to play.
That's very nicely said. This is also an opportunity for the opposition to prove that it is pro-governance. Well, all that will happen today or not, we'll have to wait and see. 18th Lok Sabha is all set to convene at 11 o'clock today. The Prime Minister is expected to speak to media persons at 10 o'clock. And of course, the opposition MPs are going to gather and they are going to most likely boycott the proceedings, is what we've been told. Remember, there is a committee, there's a panel of people who will be assisting the chairpersons today. These are senior MPs from different parties, but of course there is a controversy that's looming large over Parliament proceedings. The controversy over the appointment of the pro-term speaker. Of course, the Parliamentary Affairs Ministry has said that it is going to be Bhartrihari Mahtab, BJP MP from Cuttack, while the opposition has said that this is basically ignoring and invisibilizing a Dalit MP called K. Suresh, who hails from Kerala and also has about 8 terms. But of course, that is a truncated term, which is the rationale that the BJP and of course the government is using to justify its choice for a pro-term speaker. The pro-term speaker is going to take oath at 11 o'clock, and after that he will be administering oaths to others. In the course of next 2 days, you will see a lot of MPs take oath, and after that the Prime Minister will also be introducing his Council of Ministers. The President is going to basically address the joint sitting of the Parliament. So several important days ahead, but like Sajjan said, we'll have to wait and see if there's going to be protest politics or both the opposition and the government are going to use this as an opportunity to showcase their best in the Parliament. Time for a short break. We'll be back in a bit.